Hey y'all, my name is Alexandra Hart. I'm going to be presenting this slide on Islamic prayer. I know that there were some questions and confusion as to what goes on and how it goes, and also just some curiosity. So I put this together to give y'all some more information. Before I start, I wanted to say that there seem to be two attitudes when it comes to learning other cultures, both in social work and in the professional community at large, and they're sort of at odds with one another. There's cultural humility, which is seeing culture, recognizing it to be a living and changing thing, shared by people as a collective, but also experienced differently by each individual that makes up that collective. And then there's cultural competence, which is well-meaning, but a little bit dated, and it's seeing a culture as a finite body of knowledge that one can learn in its entirety and apply. So I, as you can probably tell from my biased way of talking, I am trying to come at this from a culturally humble perspective, especially since what I'm about to share with you is not a part of my personal culture. So this is, research that I've found and what I've gathered from talking with the students here who are Muslim and who pray daily, and other Muslim friends of mine, but it is by no means a comprehensive list of what it means to pray as a Muslim. So here are some rituals, some commonalities. There's ablution, called wudu in Arabic, and it's the pre-prayer washing to become pure. So you wash the hands, the mouth, nose, face, arms, head, and feet. And there are specific ways that you do it. It's somewhat ritualized. When one prays, one is supposed to face the Kaaba, which is the holy place for Muslims. It's in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. And you're supposed to pray at specified prayer times, which we're going to go more into later. It is ideal to pray in a clean place, like on a rug or a freshly swept floor, with nothing in front of oneself, nothing blocking you from Mecca, but it's not necessary. And then things like praying with a meditative heart, getting more into the spiritual aspect of it. And there's also a lot of ritualized physical movement that goes with the different prayers. I'm not going to get into it because I feel like it's not important unless you're actually doing the prayers, but just know that that happens. It's very easy to find online if you want to know more about it. These are the different windows of time for prayer. Salat just means prayer, and then the last word of each of these is the time of day. So Fajr is morning prayer. It's said after dawn and before sunrise. I might not be pronouncing this correctly, just by the way. I don't speak Arabic. Zuhr is early afternoon prayer. It's said after when the sun starts to decline, but before Salat al-Asr. And then Salat al-Asr is late afternoon prayer. It's said sometimes after when the sun is halfway to setting, but before it sets, which sounds a little complicated. It might be, I'm not sure. There's Salat al-Maghrib, sunset prayer. It's said immediately after the sun sets, and then there's Salat al-Isha, early evening prayer, which is said sometime after the sky becomes dark, but before midnight, and it must be performed before one goes to bed. So those are the 5 times of day that someone is supposed to pray who is Muslim. I have for you here exact prayer times for this coming week. You can find them at this URL, which I've included, and they have a monthly calendar, and it's updated, and it's for Austin, Texas specifically, so that's super helpful. If you'll notice, there's another one stuck in here, and it's shuruk, and that prayer time is optional, which is why they're only bolded and not grayscale numbers. So if you'll notice, the bolded numbers, from what I've gathered, represent the first call to prayer, and then the grayscale numbers represent the second call to prayer and when people typically start praying, so people can know what time prayers are being called. In the countries that a lot of our students come from, where there is national daily prayer, there are museums, these tall buildings connected to mosques, where people call out the times of prayer so that you know when to pray. So that information is included here because we don't have those in Austin. I also looked this up. it's AISD policy on religion for students. I thought this was like the most important thing that I found with regards to the subject material that I'm presenting. A public school student has an absolute right to individually, voluntarily, and silently pray or meditate in school in a manner that does not disrupt the instructional or other activities of the school. A student shall not be required, encouraged, or coerced to engage in or refrain from such prayer or meditation during any school activity. It's from the Texas Educational Code 25.901. And they quoted it in the AISD Handbook on Religion in Schools, the link to which I've included below. And you can find this quote exactly in that handbook on page 34, paragraph 2. So yeah, that basically outlines our responsibility to students with regards to helping them get their spiritual needs met. I know that a lot of y'all have been really great about, or all of y'all really have been really great about letting students pray, giving them time to pray, and we really appreciate it. We're trying to minimize the time out of class that students spend and trying to minimize their ability to take advantage of it for social reasons and whatnot. I've spoken with the girls before, and Rima and some other staff have as well, about the importance of praying and then going back to class and not abusing that time that they're given. So some policies that we've sort of come up with that Miss Vega has also spoken about has been making sure that they go to prayer like one at a time, especially because the prayer room that we do have, it's good because it's private, but it's very small, and so only 2 people can pray at a time, and even then it's kind of squished. So we're trying to have them only pray one at a time, so they're not waiting for each other outside of their room, and making sure that they're keeping their prayer time down to 20 or 30 minutes tops, but hopefully more like 10 or 15. So that's something that we've spoken about with them. And again, not all of them choose to pray. Some of them choose not to. Some of them combine their prayers earlier in the day so that they can prioritize school. Others feel like this is not okay. Like I was talking about before, that first slide, getting back to that cultural humility, it's different for everyone. So if you have any questions, definitely ask your students, or feel free to email me or to look it up. There are a lot of really good resources out there. So thank you for your time and your interest in this subject.